Without leads, you don't have a business. You have a hobby. But not all leads are created equal. Some are time wasters, while others turn into high-paying, repeat clients. So how do you find the right ones? Welcome to Behind the Mobile Bar, the podcast for mobile bartenders and aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm Ryan, aka the Boozy Broker, and when we ran our mobile bartending business, we handled over 300 events and generated over $500,000 a year, all using the Happiest Hours platform. Now, as CEO and co-founder, I'm helping other mobile bartenders do the same, streamlining their operations and growing their businesses. As always, I'm joined by my cousin CJ, business partner who keeps us up to date on industry trends, and Vivian, owner of the Thirsty Horse Mobile Bartending, who's actively building her business and knows firsthand what it takes to turn leads into paying clients. But today, we have a special guest, Jordan from One and Only Bartending. Jordan started as a Happiest Hours bartender back when we had our company, and now he's absolutely crushing it. Since launching his own business in July, he's already averaging 8 to 9 events per month through word of mouth, using platforms like Thumbtack, and his own sales efforts. He's here to share how he's generating leads and turning them into bookings. If you ever wondered how consistently to get more clients and keep your calendar full, this episode is for you. Where passion meets profit and every pour tells a story. Welcome to Behind the Mobile Bar.
I love it.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Like my mouth is getting a little watery. That was a lot.
I love listening to you open.
You know,
I love it.
hey.
Welcome, friends.
Yeah.
We have
What's
a fourth person on the couch today.
This is the first podcast with the fourth person.
Yeah, you're our very first
Of
guest.
course,
Welcome.
honored
We're
right
so
now.
Got to
excited.
be the one and only.
Oh,
man.
right.
Pun intended.
Right. No,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
crazy.
awesome, guys. We're going to have a great time on this episode for sure. But first, what are we drinking here, man? Of course, we had Jordan come over here. He had to make us a cocktail. Normally,
I got
Vivian
the night
does.
off.
Yeah, she got the night off.
I'm
But
going to
Jordan
sit here and
came
put my
in.
hands out. It's coming to me.
Right, for real.
Right.
We have the spaghetti western margarita brought to you by
Ooh.
Codigo. They had a special post for us today, so I was like, let's just go ahead and do it this way. And we have this Italicus liqueur. So it's like a little Mexican-Italian margarita we got going
love
on
that.
with a nice lemon twist on top. So it's super refreshing, super floral, and that, of course, a Codigo pops right out.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's do it,
Nice.
guys. Let's cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Boom.
Reach out.
Cheers, y'all.
Yes.
Was the spaghetti part just a play on words?
Spaghetti
'Cause
part
it's
was
Italian, just
for sure the
okay.
Italian roots and all that. So stuck to the roots, but I love how
Ooh,
Codigo
this
just
is
brought
yummy.
that together.
Right.
And the post was around time. It's actually Happy World Bartender Day too. So
Oh,
that's
happy
something.
World
Yeah,
Bartender
shout out.
Day.
Cheers to that
Bartenders.
too.
Shout out to all-
Cheers to all of our
Cheers to our
bartenders out
bartender
there
fams
today.
out
Thank
there.
you guys
Love
for
it.
making the memories
Make memories.
better. Yeah. That's it. Just
And
that
you know
much.
what? Like, shout out to all the bartenders out there, man, because we know they're not just bartenders,
Right.
right? We're therapists,
Right.
we're babysitters,
Right.
right? We're
Gosh.
bartenders, we're good friends,
For security.
you know, right? We're security at
Yeah.
times.
To be
So,
lifesavers.
Yeah.
right. But like when people have a long day of work and they just need to escape, you know, they come to their local bar and they connect with their bartender that's there. So shout out to all of you guys out there. It's fantastic.
For sure.
We
I
love
love
you
it.
guys.
I love it.
Well, what do we got on the menu today, friend?
Well, today I think first off, you know, I did that nice little intro with Jordan, but dude, I want you to introduce yourself and like how business is going and like
Man.
all of that good stuff, man. Like
Man,
you're
yeah.
7-8 months in or something like that, 9 months in. Yep, dude.
Yeah. So
Tell us about it.
started One and Only Bartending service. As we know, I was a Happiest Hours bartender. But as transitioning over and starting to focus on the software, Ryan was like, look, everybody's asking for you. Just start your own business.
Right.
And at that point, I was like, okay, I guess so. And so took a full leap, and business has been going pretty good ever since. Consistent on top of that. Entered our first slow season, so definitely trying to make sure this is my time to shine into going into just talking to people and networking and building the business
Use
as
that
aspect.
time wisely.
Exactly.
That's the
So
biggest thing.
it's been a blessing though. I love this entrepreneurial mindset. It's been in my family for a long time too. So this was something that felt natural, but it's always scary. So you got to take that leap of faith. And
Yeah.
here we are having
That
a good
is
time.
a scary move.
Yeah.
Now, were you only working like 100% with Happiest at that time?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I actually was working for Kaiser Permanente as an administrative assistant. And then I transitioned kind of in a way to part-time to do personal training. and I was doing personal
wow.
training. And then Ryan hit me up to be like, "Hey, you want to be a bartender?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!"
That must
let's
have been one
do
of
it."
those events where you had to pull like 20 people out of your ass.
Right,
Like
right.
you said,
Yeah,
last-
really though.
And what are you doing tomorrow?
Right.
well,
Well,
tomorrow you're bartending.
Nothing.
No.
Oh, yeah, you're a bartender now.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was crazy too because I always wanted to be a bartender, but I didn't know how. And literally, he just taught me everything I knew. So I was doing Kaiser Permanente, personal training, and bartending and Happiest
Wow.
Hours for like a year.
Hustler
and a half.
mindset, 100%.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
definitely fun. Being in different aspects of just the world in your life and seeing how you can interact from, personal training to being administrative work,
Right.
then you're bartending. And so it definitely changed my life in a whole nother way.
And it is intimidating. I think you kind of touched on it,
Yeah.
to leave that stability of like a 9 to 5.
Yes,
And
very.
then solely move on to yourself and not have anybody to answer to but yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, blood, sweat, and tears. It's Happiest Hours
Yeah.
for sure. And so it's been an amazing move, and I don't regret anything about it. And I'm way happier with life. And when you're on old boss, it's like it's just best to make that move.
Right.
You just gotta have that mindset for it, and you got to be willing to learn and literally take on any challenge without any kind
You
of.
said it's that quality of life, right?
Yeah.
The hours may be longer, but you're happier.
Yeah.
Right.
You get more fulfilled.
Yeah.
You
And balancing it too, just balancing work and life is like it's on your terms.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like having that hustle mentality. You always want to go get it. But it's nice to be like, you know what, I can chill today, whatever, or take a couple hours just to chill out. But then it's like you're hitting it hard the next day. You're like, okay, what did I miss
The
out
next
on?
day
Like,
or the next midnight.
yeah,
That-
right.
that
Oh
12
man,
a.m.
I
to 3
literally,
shift,
I
I'm
Talking
literally.
about
for that.
events, right?
Yeah.
You guys had a
Gosh.
couple events this last
Yeah.
weekend. Talk about it a
Go
little
ahead,
bit.
Viv.
Did. I actually had a like a cocktails and crafts ladies night.
Fire.
That was so much fun. We had a good turnout of people, of ladies, and it was just a blast. I think for a lot of them, this is the first time they've done something like that, so they were just having a blast.
I love it.
Yeah.
Some of the gals were already asking, like, "What's the next date? We're on. Are you making different drinks? We're here."
Yeah. What
So it
cocktails
was
did
just
you
really
make?
cool. We actually had our rye tie.
Hey.
Remember the right tie that I
Perfect
made?
timing.
Yeah.
Right.
I put that on the menu, and I always love introducing ladies, especially. I love introducing whiskey to ladies in a
good
way
call.
that I know they're gonna like it.
Right.
Because it's so different to them, or it's so new
Yes,
to them. All they know about whiskey is an old fashioned.
Right.
So how do
Yeah.
we? I think we've touched on it before. Like, how do we appeal to the masses? So I made the rye tie for them. Maybe shouldn't have been the first drink of the night because they were like
Turns up.
erasing
Or maybe
and
it should.
redrawing those straight lines. all
Right,
night.
yeah.
Right.
Mission complete.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
Literally.
it was a
Wind
blast. So
down.
yeah, it was most definitely a hit. I'm excited for next time. It was a little bit of a tester. Like, is this something that we're gonna have on a recurring schedule,
Right.
or just a one and done? But it seems like they're ready for number 2.
No, that's great. And at the end of the day, like your client was the person who owns the venue and throws the events. And so the best thing that you could have done in that situation is have a good showing, which is really on the client,
Right.
but then also let them enjoy it to where they want to come back.
Yeah.
And now your clients are like, oh, we got to have Viv here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
for all
She
of
literally
these.
came up with
Right.
the link and the post for it right there as I was giving class, and she's like, "We're posted. We're doing this. Great.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big. I think that's going to go into kind of our conversation that
Oh,
we're going to
perfect.
have because
Okay.
you put out a good product, and that's what you ultimately did.
Thank
there.
you. Yeah. You
Exactly.
really, you really
That's
did. Thank
fantastic.
you.
But Jordan, you had a crazy one.
Man, so Saturday was busy. I had 2 gigs. I had a mimosa party and whatnot, so that was pretty cool. We did a pineapple, cranberry, orange juice, of course, mimosa party. So that was for the ladies. That was really cool. And literally a few hours after, I had to prepare for a 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. gig.
I'm
And
too old for
That's
that.
crazy.
that was in
Way
Inglewood,
too
so it was
old
about
for
an
that.
hour away from us too. So it was crazy, but it was fun though. We had a good time. Me and Annika, my number 2.
Oh, we love Annika. We love you, Annika.
Annika,
Wherever
shout out to
you are.
Annika.
Annika.
She's the boss for real. She's real cool. So we definitely took it on. 150 people, 3 hours. Didn't get to sleep till 6 a.m.
Oh,
Fantastic.
So
Bartender life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sunday I was like, okay, I'm sleeping today.
all day. Sleeping all day. Are you actually
Literally.
awake today?
Yeah, no, like I definitely recovered pretty well. But it was a great venue, Baron Davis's content creation house, you could say.
Right.
And it was just
Shout
blessing
out
to be
to
there.
BD.
Yeah, shout out to
big
Baron
shout out
Davis.
to
He was
Baron
super cool
Davis.
as always. But yeah, we had a good time. And yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You know, I'm glad you said the mimosa thing. Quick little cheat code here. We're starting to learn beer and wine events. If you do it,
Yeah.
bring champagne
Yes.
or sparkling,
Right.
whatever it is.
Yep.
Just
Yes.
bring it because you're gonna get more interaction.
Yes.
You're gonna have more like transactions. People love champagne. They're
Yeah.
not just gonna
Everybody
have
loves
one.
bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the sparkling is wine, right?
Right,
So it's a
right.
part of it, right? So red, white, sparkling.
And even like I said, just bring an orange juice.
Yeah,
just for
100%.
One
Right.
mimosa, like it's-
100%.
Why not?
Simple.
Very
Awesome, guys. So we're going to jump right into it. So we're talking about leads today, right? So this is interesting. Every business needs leads,
literally.
right? Like what I say in the intro. It's like, if you're not getting leads, you're not converting these things. This is just a hobby.
Right.
If you're not focused on it, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But look, at the end of the day, leads are just potential clients
Yep.
that didn't know you, and now they do. And they are interested in what you have to offer.
Literally.
The big question is like, how you gonna like close them? What are you
Right.
gonna do with them?
Right.
There's different types of leads, like all that type of stuff, right? So that's important. And then let's talk about like, you know, what are the different types of leads that are out there, right? So you can do paid stuff. If we're in this digital age where it's like, and CJ, you have experience with this stuff. It's like you can do Google ads, you can do Meta ads, you can do, you know, there's Meta's Instagram, whatever. You can do all of this stuff to just get people that are like cold, that you don't know nothing about. And if the content they created is good enough, you can get them to stop in their tracks and be like, what's that? Let me figure out more.
Right.
Don't forget about direct mailers too, right?
That's-
Flyers.
There you
and
go.
Putting that stuff out on people's cars and homes. So
I think that's what you've been really good about doing lately, right?
Yeah, I've been actually going to a lot of luxury apartment complexes, OC in LA area. That's really been working out for us. And literally, they will always want to do something for the residents.
Right.
That's so
Some
cool.
type of party, and it's something more that I add on to, but I can also help them create an actual event for themselves as well. And so they're always looking forward to me coming back. What's new? What kind of cocktail we can bring? And it's
Oh,
almost
that's
like revisiting
awesome.
family to a degree.
Yeah,
They treat
that's
you like
good.
family after a while. Once you party with somebody, it's almost like we're family at this point.
Yeah. And I love that, man. Like, and we're going to for sure go deep into
Yeah.
that, like why you chose that, like how are you approaching those things, you know, so that's fantastic. And then we also have, outside of paid, you have organic stuff.
Yep.
So just word of mouth, referrals, just posting organic content. That's a big piece for us, right? It's all like, because look, at the end of the day, especially when you're starting your business, it's like, do you have a lot of money to pay towards paid? And are those things converting? But it's like, you can do things that are free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And convert some of these things as well. It's like you have inbound stuff and you have outbound stuff. So it's like there's all these different type of ways to get people to say like, hey, how do I convert this and how do I earn some actual money, right, at the end of the day? And so we're going to talk a lot about this stuff. But most important, before we go into it, like what I always like to take a step back, and we can all chime in about this. It comes down to your product. Like before you do any of this stuff, you got to perfect. And when I say product, just to like define it, I'm talking about from start to finish of whatever you're providing to your customer. I'm talking about from the DMs, your responses in your DMs. What do those sound like and look like to the end consumer? Like when they call you and you pick up the phone, how's your energy, right? Like, do you sound excited? Or, you know, all of that stuff needs to be on point, and you have to kind of like perfect this because you want to get them excited. They're doing an event. More than likely, it's like something exciting outside of like some other events that we've done
You
before.
need to match that energy. Yeah.
You gotta say, yo, I'm excited for your event just as much as you are, type of thing.
And I think the one thing to really make note is that, right, while this is your event number 50, 75,
Right.
100, 200, for you, this is their event number 1.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So you have to match that energy, that excitement, and still have that wonder and curiosity. So that way, like you said, that the client can go ahead and feel it. And you're right. And they're excited by the time that they leave the phone call with you.
It's also like treating them like family and friends just over the
That's a
phone
big
call.
piece.
Yeah.
That's a
Because
huge
once you're like
piece.
super relatable to them, you're just like, yo, like, how are you?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yes.
Like, what's
Yeah.
new? And then you start talking about your event, like, oh, that's a dope idea. And they might ask you for advice, and you're like, okay, yeah, let's try this too. And they usually take your advice because you're the professional.
Right.
And so usually leave it up to you to be like, yo, yes, you're the
Yeah.
professional. I want to do it your way. And 99% of the time, it comes out great.
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head because, again, I keep saying it, these are private events.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're uncles and aunties and people. It's there. It's not like just some public space where they're meeting random people. It's so the more you make them feel like family and friends and stuff like that, the higher chance that they're going to be like, I'm just going to go with this person. He makes me feel comfortable.
Right.
Right.
She makes me feel
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah.
Yes.
Right? So that's huge. And again, going back to the product, starting from that conversation down to your setup, down to do you show up on time to your customer's event or whatnot? Do you show up early? Are you ready to rock? Is your energy good when you're there, right? Are your cocktails good, obviously?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And then when you pack up, like, did you leave the place how it showed up?
Yeah.
How you
That's
showed up,
important.
right? Like
Yeah,
all
that's
of this
super
stuff is
important.
all little things about your product, and they remember the stuff. Because what sucks about it is that you can do 10 great things and one bad thing.
Literally.
And that's what they remember.
That's what they're,
Right?
seriously.
So it's like you got to get the product right. And then on top of that, you have to have a growth mindset. How do I make this next event better than the one I just had? Right? How do I improve the cocktail a little bit? Maybe I should do this thing instead of this. Like, there's multiple ways on how you can do that. But like having that growth mindset is so huge, So if you don't have that down there, you guys can just turn off this episode right now because none of this stuff is going to matter.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, leads are, unless you're doing things organic, it's either costing you time or money. One of those two things. And if you can't make these leads like a recurring situation, it's kind of all for naught in a way.
Right, for sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's, and when I say recurring, I say they're at least booking you once a year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If you can't do that, what are we doing? You're spending too much money, you're doing all these things. You know what I mean? So the first thing, right, I think it's core is just word of mouth.
Yeah.
Cute.
That is
yeah,
the
that's how
best
things get
sure.
started.
Form. That's how everybody gets started.
It's free.
It's free, and you actually have people working for you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the mindset. They're telling other people about you.
Literally.
Right? And so it's like, do you guys have any situations where it's all like, everybody has a word of mouth situation.
Right.
But can you remember anyone off the top of your head who was all like, oh yeah, this person booked me because this, like your last event, how did they find you?
Yeah.
Like, was it
well,
word
actually,
of mouth?
I have a better one.
Yeah.
And this one, I sometimes say I owe it all to her, but one of my very first events was in my community. We live, like in a gated community situation. This neighbor booked me for like a Mother's Day event. And that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
To this day, I'm still getting regular clients that know that first client of mine, like in
how it
one
goes.
way or another. An aunt, an uncle. Through her, we've done families and friends of hers, weddings, wedding showers, baby showers, graduations.
You're
like
seeing the whole family grow.
Literally, I
and-
feel like their entire network I know through that one word of
Wow.
mouth.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, that's
cool.
huge. Can you think of anything, Jordan, of like
Um,
a word of mouth, something that's just like recurring? They just love your service. Like it's almost like you feel like they will never go anywhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
they're just all like they're locked in. You know what I mean?
Shoot, I can think of a couple. First one's with Mrs. Mary Pham.
Oh yeah, that's
She's-
right.
First of all, she's a great tipper. First of all, thank you, Miss Mary Pham.
That's not why we do this.
But we love her.
Yeah.
But yeah, through her, then family, and then CJ, you know about them too. They love you as well. And so next thing you know, we're doing one of Mary Pham's friends' 33rd birthday party. And me and him had a great time. Angso, he's super cool dude
Oh,
from the
did that come from that
Yeah.
too?
Yeah,
it came
that's
from
from that
Natalie.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I'll say that, and one of the apartment complexes at Lear, his name is Edgar, and literally he's a super dopest guy, and he's always like, bro, like, what can you do next? And so I suggested a Valentine's Day type of tasting, and next you know, that's what we're doing on Valentine's Day,
Oh, I
or
love
Valentine's
it.
weekend. So that was super cool. Flowers everywhere, and it was just a poppin' time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's whenever you can, especially when it comes to those, that's like a B2B situation, like business to business with like at Lear,
Yeah.
right? So it's
BDB, yep.
whatever you can do to make them look good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can get creative and say like, hey, how about we do a Valentine's Day event?
Right.
You don't know if this is like, look, he has so much competitors with all the different apartment complexes that are out there. That's just all like, oh, that apartment complex does Valentine's Day tastings and stuff like that.
Right.
It should help their occupancy rates and stuff like that, right? Or maybe it adds some effect to it.
That, and I've definitely met him through another apartment complex.
Boom. Word of mouth.
They're all really
Yeah.
cool
Referral.
friends, all the managers, and so she, I think it was I forgot her name.
It's the Vox people.
Yes,
and the,
Vox people. Yes,
yeah.
you know who they're talking about.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
pretty much they got invited to one of our events, and next thing you know, he's like, I want him to be at my event.
Right.
And next thing you know, I've been probably my 4th, 5th time at Lear.
That's
Un-
rad.
unreal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
these corporate ones are great because
Yes.
look, we all know they're recurring for the most part.
Yes.
Hence, there's proof in the pudding there. And then it's also like money's not really an issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Not
For the
much,
most
yeah.
part,
they have a
it's-
budget, but it's how much
But
you know
they
people pay
have
for
the
rent.
budget
to
to
work
work
with.
with.
Yeah,
They have a budget,
Yeah.
and they know that they're slicing up the budget with
Right.
whatever vendors or whatever they're doing for that event.
Right.
And it's up to them on if they feel like I value the bartending piece versus the taco guy or
Yeah.
like the DJ or whatever.
Right.
So we've seen it all the time to where like we're the last ones that they come after, so therefore they're trying to skimp on. They're
Yep.
trying to ask for a deal. They're
Right,
trying to do all these things
right.
because their
Yes.
budget
It's
is
already
limited
been-
because
Yeah.
they did food already, they did this already, they did that
Yeah.
already. But once they witness your service, like that's valuable.
It's worth it.
I gotta get that, even if we all don't eat. Like
Right.
I gotta
That's
have
it.
him at
That's
our
it.
We're
place.
having
I think
Costco
it's-
sandwiches.
Yeah, right.
I also
right.
think it's crazy too because I've gotten events off other vendors too. So what I did with Atelier, I actually introduced them to a DJ, and then that DJ ended up getting me a gig somewhere else too.
And this is exactly what we were talking about last
Yes.
episode.
Gotta
take care of
your
Yes.
vendors.
Yep.
You got to take care of your vendors.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take care of your vendors.
it's
they
everything.
take care of you.
literally.
Yep. No, I love it. I love it. And you know, so that's one core form, right? These are all core things to me. So we just talked about the word of mouth piece. The other piece that I'll talk about is I call them RTBs, the reasons to believe, right? So any form of lead that's cold, that doesn't know you, they need a reason to believe to feel
Got
like they
it.
need to book you,
Okay.
right? So that can come in the form as Google reviews,
Yep.
right? That can come in the form as testimonials from
Right.
your clients. So like
Right.
Edgar would be a perfect person
Yes.
for you to just like, because you know he'll do it.
sure,
You
yes.
go to him like, bro, can you just say a couple of things for me?
Right.
And now you're targeting other apartment. He must know other apartment complexes.
Right,
And now
right.
you put that on Instagram or wherever.
Right.
Even on LinkedIn, and then now they're just like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Because we also have to think that people, this is not. That's why there's so much opportunity in this industry. That's not the first thought for people. Some
Right,
people don't even
right.
think they can do it or it makes sense.
Right.
Right. But now if you're like, oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, let's try it out.
Yep.
Right. So that can happen. So you have your reasons to believe. Right. This is where content comes in. Right. And it's just all like
Man.
staying consistent.
Content's a whole nother 9 to 5.
Instagram.
Yeah. Shout out to Alana back there.
Yeah,
First
right.
lady, Happiest Hours.
Yeah, she's on
there,
it.
there are tools and ways for you to really automate that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you got to do it. You know, if you don't do it,
Well, you have to
If
have
you-
that content to work with in the first place.
right, right. So like capturing content yourself and
And really,
but also like
anything
putting
could
it
be
out.
content.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anything.
I also say play with it. Like I just literally started doing this whole little filming editing situation, and it's using CapCut. You can pay for
Yeah.
Pro. I think it's like $10 a month. But
Right.
creating like great quality content has been a thing for me. I've been trying to stay consistent with it.
Right.
But my quality is always there.
Right,
So I notice
right.
that engagement when it's really popping, when the logo matches with the song choice and the
Yeah.
trending songs, to just special effects. That's not too much. Thanks, Alana. But not too much, but just enough to make people engage in like, oh, what's coming next?
It's your resume.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
You know, and so right now nowadays people aren't going into the yellow books. Not everyone even uses.
The yellow
I'm
books.
old. Yeah, sorry guys.
I was
I'm
gonna
old.
say,
I'm
God,
old.
how old
The
are
yellow
you?
book.
Yeah. You're showing your age,
Hey,
TJ.
Oh, man, that
or you know,
hurt.
even Google reviews is somewhat old, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah,
Instagram.
true.
It's
The
Instagram.
Instagram
It's
is
your
the new
TikTok.
business
It's
card.
your right.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that
Yeah.
that people are minding the most,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so you
That's
have
true.
to you have to be where the eyes are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And there's more than one reason as to why we as mobile bartending companies need to stay consistent, right? So one, it's the problem with it for us is that they may see a cool like post, but they may not have an event for 6 months from now.
Yes.
So it's not like a pair of shoes that you can advertise on Instagram. They're like, I want those, and they can buy a couple
No.
clicks.
Right. Yeah.
It's coming to
Right.
their house. It's all like, well, I don't need this now. So staying consistent creates the scenario of like, it's the first one. You got to strike like lightning.
Yes.
Like when they need to book something or when they're close enough to it, if
Yeah.
they see your post
Right.
and they've saw it before,
You gotta stay top of mind.
that you got to stay top of mind. So that's the big
Yeah.
thing. And then also staying consistent gives you like the data. If you're looking at the data, what's working and what's not.
Right.
If you're posting things and you're doing different things, you'll be able to see like, oh, when I talk in front of the camera or when I show this or I do this,
Right.
that works better. The market responds better to that
Right.
than to me just posting my cocktail thing. And by the way, we see too many mobile bartenders just posting their cocktails.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even know who you are.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Where,
yes, yes.
where are the people behind this? At the end of the day, it's the person that is showing up to the event.
literally.
You're just showing your cocktails.
Right,
Like there's
right.
cocktails
All the
all
time.
over the world.
Yeah.
Like you're just another cocktail page.
I can
Right.
just Google cocktails.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or ChatGPT.
Show your face.
Right.
Show some personality.
That's
Yeah.
what I have gathered, or that's what I've noticed.
You do a great
with
job of this
my-
as recently.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I get more activity when people are just watching me do my day-to-day stuff. And I'm like
Yes.
packing the truck, or if I'm, yelling at the kids while having a client on the phone.
Right.
Like that stuff is getting more traction for me than like the super perfect post with the best, blah 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 on it.
People like authenticity.
And they want to be
Exactly.
relatable to you. So
Exactly.
if they know,
Yeah.
like, dang, I go through the same exact thing, I'm gonna hire
She
that
yells at
person
her kids
because
too
I
while
feel
she's
like
talking to clients. 100%.
Right.
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 Mhm.
Right.
literally,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
you
that-
encouraged us
That's-
too. Like, so I was posting gym stuff to me and Nate were doing some clips in Mexico. We all went to Tequila for El Tequilino. Like
Right.
so many different things, just collage of just showing personality so people can actually know you and
Yeah.
Right.
relate to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you guys hit the nail on the head.
I throw my
But-
cats on there sometimes for those crazy cat people. I may be one of them.
Hey, they got birthdays
hey.
too.
Right.
Thank you.
You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
Shout out to the
They
cats
got
out there.
birthdays
That's a
too.
whole,
Shout out
that's
to
a
the
whole new
cats.
category.
Yep,
Pet
pun
celebration.
intended
Yeah.
category. Oh my
Hey,
god, I'm
man.
such
I
a
didn't even
nerd.
see what I did there.
Right. Right.
Just came natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
I'm
love
the
you guys.
crazy cat
Pun
person. Oh, I
intended.
gotta
Guys,
stop.
Categories.
Cats. Look at that dad joke. I love it. Been around the kids too
Actually,
much.
one of our friends on our live earlier asked a funny cat joke. I'm going to bring that one back around.
Love it. Love it. Well, we got some other things to go into leads, but before we do that, let's go into a quick little sponsor break. How about that?
Oh, I
Yeah.
love
Let's
it.
do
Those
it.
are my favorite.
Sweet.
Boom.
Where is it? Damn, it's not here. It's not here either. Ah, there it is. This episode is sponsored by Happiest Hours, the platform for mobile bartenders to easily grow and manage their business. Let's get back to the episode.
All right, guys. So another thing to think about with leads is something to focus on, right? Like, what are you going to focus on with your leads? You don't want to spend too much time on something that's not giving you a good ROI or result from it, right? At the end of the day, so just kind of, there's multiple ways to get your leads. It's just like, what's working, what's not working. I feel like some people, they just said, oh, I'm going to keep doing this thing and hopefully it works at some point. But you got to change something. Either change what you're doing, about your business or whatever, or change your lead up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like one thing I love, and I always say it all the time, I say it to Nate Dogg, that does all the production over here,
Dogg.
is there's riches in the niches, right? And this is something that like Jordan is doing. It's more so of you're super hyper focused on, I call it an avatar of like who you're going after. So Jordan, right, you're talking to apartment complexes. We just said, now if you're talking to this Edgar guy and you do a testimonial, Edgar knows other apartment complexes. And so the other Edgars out there will be all like, oh, Jordan is for me.
Yeah.
He understands my business. He's doing it for Edgar, so he must be good. That kind of thing. So it's like, that's a focus. You have a focus on, weddings. And not to say you
Weddings,
can't
yeah.
do anything else. You guys are great at, you do
is
weddings
what we're-
sometimes
yeah, that's
and
what
stuff
we're
like
good
that.
at,
But
yeah.
I think having a focus, you can go deeper within that.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any thoughts or like comments on that?
Well, I mean, speaking on weddings, I am specifically on like a wedding platform booking service, Zola,
Right.
kind of like The Knot.
Yep.
It's specifically just directed towards weddings, so I don't get anything off of that other than weddings. But I mean, like you said, it's just my niche.
Right.
It's what we're good at, but that I really like.
The one thing I would say too, the benefit of focusing on a niche is that you know how those customers are. You know the questions.
Right.
Right. So like one thing that I would always say, like looking at sales tactics, is that you can always tee up and schedule your day, right? Like if we all know nobody's throwing events on Mondays normally.
Yeah.
Right. So like
Tuesdays though.
Tuesdays maybe.
Sun's going up.
Right.
Tuesdays.
On a Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
But right, you have like usually we call Mondays and Sundays like your bartender's weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? And so on your bartender's weekend, you can say, hey, you know what? For the next 3 hours, I'm just speaking to wedding clients.
Right.
Right? The wedding category, because that's going to do two things. It's already going to put you in that frame of mind of like, hey, this is the type of lead that I'm speaking to, but also you're already going to know their questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're going to talk to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10
That's so
people
big. So big.
in that same niche. So like, but versus, hey, I'm gonna call somebody who's planning a wedding, and then right after that, I'm gonna call somebody who's an apartment complex owner
Right.
versus somebody who's
Backyard boogie.
Right,
backyard boogie down. So it's like there are set yourself up for success.
Right.
Sure.
And by focusing on those categories, because it makes a world of a difference when you know exactly who you're talking to. Because then, right, by the time you get to your third, fourth, fifth customer, they're like, man, I feel like he just knows everything.
Yeah.
Right?
And
And
She
that's
just
what
knows.
catches people's attention.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
You can read my mind.
When you
for
can
sure.
answer all their questions for them
Yes.
before they have a chance to ask you.
Yes.
You're speaking their language.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Yes.
day, that's what's happening. And they feel there's this comfort level of like, oh my gosh, I'm not dealing with somebody who hasn't done this before or anything of that nature. So like, that's a great point. And yes, if you're on some like, you're on offense, keep it all segmented. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna get better after that second, third pitch or whatnot.
Exactly.
And the big part about this as well is like, if you focus on that, I love what you guys are going after because it's the gift that keeps giving, right? So when you do a wedding, some people like, it's hard for me to think that people do this, but like it happens, right? They're so focused on the bride and groom, it's like, oh, it's their wedding.
Right. Right.
You're running a business. They should only get married once, right?
Right.
When you
Like,
were saying
should.
earlier, like if they're not coming back to you every year, I'm like, well, my couples typically only get married once.
Right.
I
So
hope they don't come back to me.
where do you focus your energy? It's on the wedding coordinator, the event
Right,
planner, the
right.
venue owner. These are the folks that are going to keep on giving the gift that keeps giving, right? So you focus on these people, and then they're going to have other people that's going to come in, and they just want a seamless service. They want their customers to enjoy it so much they give a good review, and they you gave them the reasons to believe, and there's some comfort level out there that they're just all like, yeah, for sure. Like I'm going with Vivian on this, kind of thing. So
Please do.
yeah, huge. All right, guys. So the next one I think is pretty interesting. Follow up.
Ooh, we.
The follow up
Yes.
game.
That's the one.
That is a game.
That's the gold
Yeah.
piece.
Ryan
right
likes
there.
to play this game called Hot Potato. now you
Damn,
know,
bro,
this-
I'm reading from my notes and I
Damn.
have hot potato in here. How you got that?
I've been around him way too
Cousin
long.
brothers. Cousin brothers.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
right.
Like this dude love himself a game of hot potato.
It's-
And what hot
it's-
potato is, or do you
You
wanna-
you go. I'm gonna add some
Okay.
color to it.
There you go.
I'm gonna add some color
There
to
you go.
it.
So hot potato is the minute your lead gives you something to do, you throw it right back at them.
Boom.
Hot
Yeah.
potato.
Balls in
Right?
your court.
Like you don't ever want to be stuck with, oh, I'm gonna get that to you. If your client's reaching out to you for a quote,
Right.
and then they have to send you a reminder text or email,
Oh,
you
that's,
messed
that's
up.
terrible.
right?
Yeah,
So
that's
like
terrible.
It's
you
a big
gotta-
one, dude.
yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. Don't ever let that be a reason why you lose business.
Literally.
Like you fucked up.
Because
at
it's
that
literally
point.
your fault. There's no excuse.
It's you fucked up.
Yeah.
And look,
We've
I'm-
all been there. We've
Right.
all
for
been
sure.
there. Yeah.
There's no doubt. But that's why I'm gonna put a slight little plug to Happiest Hours here. That's why it's like if you have some type of form that they have to fill out, and then now you have to go and do something to give them information, and there's all this back and forth, you're opening up the opportunities for that to happen.
Exactly.
But with the Happiest Hours platform, it's you're getting all this information and you send it to them. It's that hot potato, like you said.
Literally.
You sent them the link or the invoice where they can book and pay.
Immediately.
Immediately.
One click.
There
Yeah.
is no
No
back and
excuse.
forth at this point. There may be some changes that they want to make, but when those changes come in, boom, you give them another link.
Right.
Here you go with the changes you just asked for. It's right back in your court. It will never be in my court for you to make a decision.
Yeah.
That's
What's
it.
also cool about the platform is that they get reminder emails.
Yes.
So if they're like kind of hesitating, a couple of days later or a day later, I believe it is, they send another message saying, "Hey, your drink's getting flat. What's going on with it?" So I think that's pretty cool too.
Right. No, that's so key. So it's like you got to use technology in order because we're busy. And here's the thing, like, Jordan, you're doing this full time. So you have the ability to follow up. Even if you didn't have Happiest Hours, you have a higher chance of closing those on your follow-up. But Vivian has a full-time job. And a lot of people have full-time jobs.
3 kids.
Right, and 3 kids.
And 4 pets.
Right? So how,
He ain't even lying.
And a whole husband.
It's actually 5,
Right,
CJ.
right. My bad.
Interesting fact, CJ's probably met all 5 of my pets too.
Legit.
right, but it's all like, so if there's all this ping-ponging back and forth, and you got a full-time job with kids and all this stuff, it's
easy
going to
to lose out
so
on those
easy.
follow-ups.
Right.
I'll
Honestly,
admit.
I love how customers reach out to you asking a bunch of questions. Like, I don't mind them calling me 3-4 times. So I
Right.
can literally just talk to you and get more relatable and be more
Yes,
like, yes,
I
I can do
love
that for
that.
you. Yes, I can do that.
Right.
And it's more like, dang, I'm so glad I'm working with you right now. And then once that event happens, it's like, yo, he worked with me through everything. Then I can pass it
That
on to my
peace of
friend
mind.
and all that. Like, I have
Yeah.
a wedding coming up in May for the Hutchinsons. I love them. They're a great couple right now. And they just keep calling me. They're like, yo, what about this? Can we do? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Yes. Cool. I got you. No problem. And they're just like, we just appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
Right.
And that just makes my heart warm. And I'm like,
Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
how
Something
much different working for a couple is versus a backyard
Yes.
boogie or some corporate event?
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Right,
For sure.
right.
They
yeah.
need that security blanket of having you like right here every day all
Exactly.
the time.
Right.
Exactly.
No, Jordan, I'm so glad you brought that up, because when they want to talk to you, one, that's a sign
Yes.
that they want to do business
Right,
with you. They're not just
right.
going to pick up the phone and share their thoughts with you just because they want to waste time. But also, two, you have more of a chance to close them. Whenever you can get somebody on the phone or anything like that, you have an opportunity to show more personality,
Yeah.
show your mastery of what you do, right? All those kind of things. You have an opportunity for that.
I know
So,
we're going to get into it too, but Thumbtack.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that whenever their budget says not sure, or they'll leave you a message saying, hey, I never worked with a bartender before, I'm like, yes, I'm going to call you right now
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we can talk in
I'm
person.
gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, literally.
On what it's like to deal with the
literally,
bartender.
literally.
Right.
And I love that. That's the ones that I feel like I close the most, is when they don't know how much they want to spend. They never worked with a bartender before. It's like, cool. Let me call you real quick. Let's schedule a call, and then we can literally talk business, and we can just show you how seamless this is and how much of a good time it's going to be.
Yeah, you're leaning in with convenience.
Yes.
Now it's not about price and all that stuff. It's just about, oh gosh, thank goodness I'm throwing this event, and I got so many things to think about. And this is the one person that's like, I feel like you're making my life easier.
Right.
You know, that's what you want to lean in
Right.
on.
Exactly.
Right.
The next topic, which is very interesting, I'm going to ask you guys. I'm going to probably throw a little kind of curveball in here.
Okay,
But
focus.
when a lead goes cold, what are you doing? What are you guys doing?
Oh gosh, who's taking this one first?
It's okay. Like, I'm just
The
curious.
lead goes cold. You know what? I hate to say this, but how do I say this? I hate to say it, but I hate to say it.
Say it. You in
You know,
a
we
safe
get
space.
you
Yeah.
get ghosted so much, which
Right.
is something
That's
that
part of the
I
job.
hate.
Part of the
I
job.
hate.
Literally.
And sometimes it's hard for me even to reach out for stuff that I need. Like, hey, I need a new bar. How much?
Right.
18K. Like, oh my God, I can't do that. And it's hard for me to reach out and admit to somebody like, that's out of my budget. I can't do it, but thank you for your time.
Yeah.
So I think I've gotten to a point, and I shouldn't settle. I guess I'm telling myself my own truth now. Where I'm so used to just getting ghosted, like I send stuff out and I'm like, I haven't heard back from them. I always go back and check in, like, okay, has Katie messaged me back when I sent her the quote?
Right,
She did. I'm
right,
like, all right, well, at least I know she's not reaching back out. But that's not okay to do. I'm not saying do that. But that is part of what goes on. You get ghosted
Yes.
so much that it's so
It's the real.
easy,
Yeah, it's the real.
unfortunately, to
'Cause
fall
you-
into like another one bites the dust.
You're fielding a lot of inbounds, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so, but the one thing that I would say is usually when somebody ghosts you, you usually know what that is, right? Which is they found someone cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but I think that a lot of times people think that they found someone cheaper, but they're not. Right? So
Yes.
they're not including.
I know
Go into
where
it. Please
you're
go into
going.
it. I know
Okay,
you're going
let's
into it. I
go into
know
it.
what you're going to
Let's go
say.
into
it. So
Oh
it
my
looks
God.
like it's cheaper, but they're not including, hey, that person is making you go get mixtures. That
Yes.
person is making you go get ice. That
Yes.
right? And it include your gas, your time, and all that
Yeah.
you're doing, right? You're at the same cost. But so I think like as any bartending company should do, when you go ahead and you get that ghost after you sent your quote for your price, I always it's never a bad idea to go ahead and follow up
Yes.
and say, hey, just wanted to check in on you, but let me show you also some levers that can either increase or decrease your price, right? Because we all know
Instead
That's
of
a good
just
one.
like,
That's a really
hey,
good
how
one,
are
actually.
you? Like,
Right,
so what do you
right.
think? That's a good point. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, hey, I know I'm just reaching out, see if you have any issues with the quote. Boom. No, everything's good. But and this is where the users are going to come in. Hey, I may have found someone cheaper. Okay, well, let's talk about it. What services does that person include?
Right.
Okay. Also, did you know that the number of guests that you're having, and I like to, sometimes you have to remind clients, well, I know 75 people are coming. How many of them are drinking age?
Exactly.
Right.
Right? Well, it's really only like 25. Like everyone just has kids.
Right.
Oh, well then why are you doing a 75 person party for
right.
3 hours? It should be 25 people.
Exactly.
Right? That's going to lower your cost. Maybe you don't need me for 6 hours. Right? Like trust me.
Right.
After 3, we're going to be nice and toasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
like there are all these factors that you can come in and that you can preemptively. So after and you guys have been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
right? Like after a while you can do the math and figure out like, oh, okay, this is why I haven't heard back from so and so. But like 9 times out of 10 it's they either they didn't like the price or they found someone cheaper. And you can always do I call this the Ryan trick. Right, and Vivian, you've used this. You've used this.
Shh, quiet.
Yes.
Don't name anybody.
Right, where it's like, oh man, I was just looking for somebody who would charge me less. Oh no, don't worry. You know what? I know a ton of people in the bartending community who can go ahead because then it's like for that host, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're still helping me.
Yeah. Right,
You're so
right,
kind.
right.
Like
Didn't you
I
use,
just want to
a
work
term
with you.
For it? No, you're helping them.
Oh.
You're helping yourself by helping them. Oh, gosh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget
Something
what I
like
used
that.
to I call it, but like it's just such a beautiful thing to be able to because look, you're still
Providing a solution.
You're providing a solution for
That's-
that client,
yeah,
and you're providing value to that client,
Right.
Right? Because they don't know the industry the way that you do,
Right.
And then I remember I used to sit there, and listen to Ryan, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I hope find someone. Here's 3 options," and then the client be like, "Yeah, I wish I could really afford you," And then next thing you know, they're like,
Right.
You know what? I'll go with you.
I'll just cut this and then I
Right.
can afford you because
Right.
because you took the extra
Total
step,
mindfuck.
Yep.
the extra effort. It's a mindfuck.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a mindfuck
Right.
Literally.
to have them just to have someone be on your side
Right.
and it not be about the money,
Exactly.
Yeah.
right? Because at the end of the day, we're all red-blooded human beings,
Right.
right? And we know, yes, while it would be great for us to have the money, I think it's more important to be a better person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is
what they're
I
gonna
think,
remember.
That's who people work with. They work
Yeah.
with people they
That's
don't
a
want to work
bar
with.
right
That's a
there.
bar,
That's
for
a
real.
bar. No,
Behind the mobile bar.
You behind the mobile bar. Let me see the check.
Yeah, look at you.
The one and only.
All your unborn children with your dad jokes.
Right. No, you guys, man, you guys already did it. All my notes that I have here, yes, I'm on my phone. All my notes.
We don't need you on your phone.
Yeah, exactly. right.
No, we do.
Right,
With your
but
crotch
like,
phone.
because we want to provide value. I want to make sure I'm providing the value. But like, at the end of the day, you guys hit up all the things. I was great. You guys did a great job because these are the notes that I had. The first thing is
Pay
like,
me later.
yeah, there you
That
go.
part.
The first thing is like the follow-up game has to be strong.
Yep.
Most deals are lost because you haven't followed up 5 times. 80% of deals are lost
5 times.
because you haven't followed up 5
5
times.
times.
Now that may be in our industry. That could be like that. That's like industry agnostic numbers. But like in our industry, might be a little much. But like you got to follow up is what I'm trying to say, and
Yeah, for
find
sure.
your own cadence within that. Right. Be creative with your follow up. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe the 3rd time, you can say something like, "Oh man, I just did this event last week, and we made this like mezcal paloma with like Himalayan salt, and I think it'd be a really good cocktail for your event." That's a
Yeah.
For
That's
anybody,
a bar, too.
who
that's
may
a
be
nice
wondering,
little tip because
Right.
that's a weird follow up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
in their eyes gonna be like,
You're not even my bartender.
yeah, but it's
Right.
also like that sounds tasty.
That does sound
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would like that on my at my drink. So it's like be creative with your follow up. Don't be normal. Hey, what do you got next?
Right.
Or like, hey, just following up here.
That's
like,
such a good
be
point.
creative with your follow up.
Mine's not as creative, but I think I've always been like just having them open up to me. So I always hit them up like, hey, like, do you have any questions just in case? Like, because people don't, like I said, don't always want to ask those questions. They're always kind of like, oh, like, I don't know if I should ask them this. Like, open the floor up to him and be like, hey, like, just reaching out, like, I haven't heard from you. Do you have any questions about your quote? Because I can definitely go deeper into it.
Yeah.
To help you understand what's going on.
So I love this. When you follow up and you know, and they ghosted you, they're not doing whatever, take it as a loss. You've lost. Now, when I was in my like corporate insurance sales days, if I were to ever lose, like when it comes to a big RFP or something like that, I would go back. Yep. Request for a proposal. I would go back to the main decision maker after, like a few days after, and I would say, hey, look, I put a lot of work into this RFP and this presentation I did, this and that. Like, I would say it's only fair to ask, like, why did I lose? Why did I lose this deal?
Yeah, you did teach me that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, ask, like, let's get, and even after the fact, like, let's say they ghosted you and they have an event that week, and then after the event, like, go back to them.
Yeah.
Especially for the beginning bartenders.
Right.
You want to just get
Not
better.
salty me. Not salty me want to be like, how was that $150 bartender?
You're right. right.
That
Your
part-
shit sucks. Shitty ass birthday party.
Don't do that.
Yeah. What'd you have? You had some Cokes and Rounds? Like, what'd you do? What'd you
Vodka
do?
Red Bull.
Vodka Red Bulls, yeah. What'd you have? No, but it's at the end of the day, you want to find out the reasons of like, hey, why, you know, I was really excited to work this event for you. Like, I just want to know. Like, just
Yeah.
helps me out in my business.
Yeah,
Everybody
it's
wants to help
great.
people
Right.
out.
It's
Be
great
real with
Constructive
people.
criticism.
Just be real. Hey, I just want to know why you didn't go with my business. Like, it'd be great. It helps me learn a lot. Maybe I did something wrong. Put the blame on you. You fall on the sword and let them give it to you. And this is where it's all like, now, how you take it. You know,
Right.
take some things with a grain of salt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or sometimes it's the truth.
But yeah, sometimes there's gold in that, like in the VC world, right? There's that phrase,
Right.
you know, ask for investment, get advice. Ask for advice, get investment.
Boom.
You know,
Boom.
and so it is one of those things where I think that advice is free, and people love to give it.
Right.
Yes.
So it costs you nothing to ask that question
Yep.
and to pose that question to your clients. So why not take advantage and just get better?
Yeah.
Because we all learn more from losses than we do from wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ghosted you already.
Right.
Like, what do you have to lose?
Right.
Just ask them the question. Yeah, it may be a little awkward or whatever, but like, you want to get better.
Yep.
Ask the question, right? Like, how do you get better? And one last thing on this topic, you know, Vivian, when you first answered it, I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people, when they get ghosted, they start to crumble a little bit and they want to throw out, hey, I can do things for cheaper, or this and that.
Yeah.
Stand on your
Yes.
value.
Yeah.
For sure.
Don't be
Yes.
desperate.
For sure.
Go through your follow-up process, do some of the cool little quirky things that we talked about, but after that, leave it the fuck alone. On to the next. Don't devalue yourself because somebody's not responding
And
to you.
that's so hard to not
Yeah.
do.
Right.
For sure.
Because there's the next one. There's the next one that's going to pay you what you're
Man.
worth.
Right.
Right. And then you're going to make double what that
Right.
person was going to pay you.
But then it's gonna feel so good too. It's
Right.
gonna light that fire again.
100%.
And the amount of times that we've devalued ourselves, which almost guarantees you're doing way more work.
Exactly.
Right.
Because they expect the world.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Don't bite yourself.
Yeah.
All
So,
right,
so
well-
a couple of things that I want to kind of like jump into, and this is kind of the core stuff, but both of you guys are using some platforms. And I just want to ask a little bit of questions about that. But, you know, Jordan, you've had some wins on Thumbtack, which is
Yes.
great. And there's all of these platforms out there where you can get leads from, right? There's Bark, Thumbtack, Gig Salad, The Bash, The Knot,
Wait, what salad?
Gig Salad.
I've never
Yeah.
heard of
Yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah,
another one.
it
Salad.
used to be something else.
Well, no, that was Gig Masters. It's now The
Sorry.
Bash, but there's also
That's
Gig
right.
Salad.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
so
Transition,
yeah,
yeah.
so there's all these like all of these platforms out there that are going to help you get leads, and you just got to learn how to play their game.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing. Like there's been like Thumbtack has had a lot of every bartending company that I talk to like bad experiences with it, you know, because they just feel like they're spending too much on leads and nothing is coming out of it. But in my opinion, it's like they're still giving you the lead. Right. Like Thumbtack did its job.
Right.
Right.
You're just not closing it.
Right.
There's something that you need to fix. You know what I mean? Not Thumbtack.
Right.
Right. So but you also have to understand the lead, right? We went through a session
Yes.
of like, There's leads that are coming directly to you that are like a higher probability of probably closing.
Right.
And there's leads that are just out there that they're like looking at the market within Thumbtack.
Right.
And which ones do you respond to? Because if you respond to all of them, that's more money.
Right. Right.
But you need to know, hey, I'm not responding to this, that, and the
Right,
third.
right.
You
You
got
have
to put a
to-
cap on yourself.
You also have to vet the lead.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Thumbtack is actually really cool. I definitely enjoyed it like the first month. It was definitely a lot of leads coming my way, and I closed a few of them.
Yeah.
So which was amazing. But there are times where the leads do come and go, and you're like, dang, like, okay, that's an extra 20, 30 bucks out of my pocket and whatnot. So it gets you eager to want to go harder. And that's where you want to do the follow-ups
to
Thumbtack. And that's something I have some homework to do. Don't
Yeah.
tell nobody, I got some homework to do. To
We're all
follow up
human.
on those, on those leads of Thumbtack, because they're still there, even if you don't get new people coming in. Because I did cap myself for a little bit. I was like, let me slow down on it. But there's plenty I can follow up on to really focus on and spend some juice and spend some energy with them.
Yeah.
I love Thumbtack though. I think it does its job, and like I said, it's just your job to close it, like you said.
Right.
to be
And,
honest.
and you did the right thing. You capped it.
Yes.
I think that's where people
You
go
gotta know
awry on
when to
this.
cap it. Yeah,
You gotta
'cause
cap
when that
it.
bill shows up and you're like, oh, I spent that much money on leads.
Right.
It's like, okay, I need to maybe take a pause, but focus on the leads I already have and really go harder at that.
Right.
And close
100%.
those to make that money back. And then continue with Thumbtack and go on from there.
Yeah, and know what you're spending on it, cap
Yes.
it, bake it into your pricing.
That too.
Yep.
Bake it in there. Bake it in there and say like, hey, I'm gonna spend $150 on Thumbtack per month. That's baked. I have this marketing expense that's baked into my pricing.
How many events am I averaging per month?
Right.
Right.
Divide your cost of Thumbtack by month by the number of your events you're averaging, and that tells you what you should be charging per event.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
great
that's
thing.
quick math for my non-math people.
Yeah, that's it. I love
I
it.
hate
Very
math.
simple.
I know.
So
I average see math
yeah,
a whole lot.
and-
It's a lot of math.
and going to
I could
Zola,
say the same.
like talking about Zola, like how's your experience on Zola, and like why did you choose Zola out of all the
Yeah.
platforms out
Especially
there?
versus the not.
Right.
love
Well,
to hear that.
actually, Zola chose me.
Oh,
That's right.
Thanks, Zola. Zola chose me. They reached out to me, and I think it was like the owner or the developer. I don't know, when they were literally first starting a few years ago. So they saw me on
Opportunistic,
Instagram and like, hey, we're just starting out this new platform. We would love to list you. So I was fortunate enough to be one of the first handful of people that were able to be on their platform for free for a year or two.
that's
Oh,
so crazy.
okay.
Yeah, and they are
And it gave you a deal. That's
specifically
crazy.
wedding. Yeah, they are specifically. It's a wedding platform. It's much more affordable to me than any of these other like big
So
or
can you
whatever
hook me up with
groups.
them real
Yeah.
quick?
So I think they're like their biggest or their most expensive plan. You pay for like unlimited leads for 2 to 3 months, and it's actually not a lot. To be honest, I don't remember how much it is because it just bills me automatically. But I know it's not a lot because I'm cheap, and if it was something too expensive, I would have said no.
Yeah.
The honesty is crazy. I love it. I love it.
No, it's true. I mean, it's true. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure.
But so they are sending me leads off of preferences that I've chosen and areas.
Okay.
Going back to the personalizing and touch. Everything, you know, the couple will send you a message, hey, we're getting married. These are our details, blah, blah, blah. We're interested. What can you offer? For me, have to get these couples on the phone because I feel like I sell myself way better
Yes.
over a
That's what we
phone
said earlier.
conversation
Yeah,
than I
100%.
do over
Get them
just
on the
the
phone.
Email,
Yeah.
text.
get them on the phone.
Yeah.
But you know what I
yeah.
am noticing is the younger generation, they like the ease of sending that message and like how much.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh God,
Well, that's the
I have to
thing.
learn how to deal with that because it's just so not for me. I'm older. I'm old school. I want to get people on the phone, and these younger people
They don't
don't
wanna
want to
talk.
talk to
They
you on the
wanna
phone. They
talk.
just want everything here.
Right.
So that's my homework that I'm
Well,
working
that's the
on
thing
right now.
that me and Cedar talked about was creating a template. So what I do with Thumbtack is when someone reaches out to me, I try to make it as personal as possible, but I'm using a clear template to let them know, hey, this is what I offer, this is my price.
Right.
But I go into detail of like, hey, I use organic juices, cold pressed juices, organic ingredients, syrups and whatnot. And that pushes them to be like, dang, this was so detailed. I truly appreciate it. Like, can we just sign up now or what? But people always appreciate the detail in the template that I create.
Yeah.
Just make it personal by like, hey, CJ, and then say you're getting married or whatever. It's like, congrats on your wedding. Can't wait to do it. And then you go into the template. And then it's like a cool little finish at the end. And then they're like, this is perfect. I truly appreciate your time
Yeah.
and your efforts for this. But all I did was copy paste, add a couple
Yeah.
sentences.
Yeah,
and I was good
right.
to go.
And change the person's name.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that pressure, Jordan.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Shout out to CJ's girl.
Yeah, and you're putting in that link in there to where they can book.
Yeah, literally.
after all
the
of that
link
stuff.
Right.
and the PDF file, so
Right.
they can download it, keep it on their profile. But they can easily click on the link and see the exact price I listed,
Yep.
see all the ingredients I listed, everything that I'm bringing for your party, and
Yeah.
it's good to go.
So you tell them when in your first outreach what you'd be bringing, like exactly what you're
Yeah,
bringing?
literally, I use part of the platform, of course, to just put it on there. Ice, garnishes, cups, all these kinds. This is what's included in your price. And thanks to Happiest Hours platform, shout out to that, bringing the alcohol to legally through the liquor license. So then I tell them, hey, this is how much your alcohol is going to be, but it's the estimated price. I always put like underline bold.
Right.
Do not be scared of this price. It's
yeah,
only
we-
if you use 100%
Right.
of your bottles.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, whatever is opened will be charged. Whatever's not open will not
Yeah.
be charged.
Right.
So
And then
funny.
that's when people are like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. Some people actually have a couple questions after that too. And I'm like, it's fine, but I let them know, like,
Right.
remember, you will not be charged for
Yeah.
anything that's not open, and so you're good to go. So people really appreciate that. And they're like,
Yeah.
you're
It's
so
a new concept, so it
detail-oriented.
takes time.
It
Yeah.
does.
So that's what
And-
you can do for the younger people, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
right.
Yeah.
But you're engaging in conversation.
Yes.
That's what
Completely.
you want. You want
For
the
the
back
younger
and
people.
forth
We're old.
to open up and close them.
Yeah, we're old.
Right.
Yellow
And
pages.
also
Oh,
like
the yellow
Jordan,
pages.
you're making some assumptions when you do that. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
It's they're not asking you, hey, what kind of cocktails you have? You're like going forward and saying, hey, these are cocktails that will work for your event.
Right.
I can also make
Right.
whatever you want.
Right.
But I'm just letting you know. And then here's the link with those assumptions of those cocktails.
Yes.
And then again, hot potato, the ball's in their court
Yes.
Yeah.
to make the decision. And some of them like different people like to receive information in
In
different,
different
ways.
ways. Yeah.
And you have to be able to cater to all the
sure.
above.
Yeah.
But I know that we have I believe we got some questions or something.
Question corner. Everybody loves
Yay.
question corner.
Questionnaires.
Thirsty Horse question corner.
Well, I had a kind of serious question, and it makes sense, and it's good to answer. But I think for our guest bartenders, we should ask the "What's your craziest bartending story?" question because it's fun. We can't be too serious all the time.
Yes, I like that. I
so
like it.
for one of
Love it.
our not as old as us bartenders, what
you
is your
go.
craziest bartending
Yeah,
story?
young buck.
How detailed can I be? Like, how explicit can I
no-
get on
no
Don't
that?
include
names.
anybody's name.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, we'll never do that. Confidential.
Don't be
for
like
sure.
me.
No social security numbers.
Right. Dang, that's a good question. I guess it was one of our first events with Happiest Hours, and we were doing it.
We
as
said
this-
no names.
Well, yeah, no names on the actual person, but we were there, and it was a great time. But people get real flirty really easily on some alcohol, and so me and CJ are cleaning up after this big like matching gig, and I'm bent over trying to.
What game?
It
I
was-
forgot
It was a,
about
it was a matching party.
Oh,
Yeah.
You forgot something?
Like
Yeah.
speed dating.
No, a matching
matching?
party. Like it was like a huge house.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
in.
Oh, Mansion.
it was in, Rancho Cucamonga.
Rancho.
M-A-N-S-I-O-N.
Yeah,
Okay,
Rancho.
Mansion.
Yeah.
I remember literally I was bent over picking up my bar, cleaning it up, and literally putting it together. And I got a whole hand like grasping my butt, and I was like,
Fantastic.
"Oh!" I was like, "CJ, it's time to leave." Mind you, this lady was literally like 20 minutes ago making out with her husband on a canopy
Yes.
in the corner.
Yeah.
So
Her
I
husband was
like-
there.
I was like, "How does this?" I was like, "Wait, we need to go home. We need to
Oh
go."
my
But
Wow.
that was hilarious, but very much like, dang,
That was
like,
your tip for the night, just so you know.
I-
That
Yeah.
Yeah.
guess
You made
so.
out all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we had a good time.
It
But it
was
was
a
definitely
good
like,
night,
it
but
was like, all right. cut
It
the
was
cake,
very
we need to go.
awkward being there because like her husband wasn't even like a small dude. He was a big dude.
Right.
Right.
And I was
And
like,
so it was like
But maybe he's into that kind of thing.
we
That's
They
very
were looking for
possible.
their
We
number
live
in
3.
2025.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
he
I'm
probably
good.
told her to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was all like,
Yeah.
That just clicked. That literally just clicked 2
he
years
was
later.
like, hey, babe, go up.
Ah.
Let me guess. She was a little bit older too. She was
Yes.
a cougar.
Yep. For sure, probably like 40.
There's a reason why
Freshman right
I call
here.
40s.
There's a reason why I
Right
call
there.
Jordan catnip number 2.
Right.
Yeah,
Shout out
right,
to Captain
right.
number 1.
Yeah,
Justin.
yeah.
Oh
Catnip
my gosh,
number
it's
1.
too funny.
I
Yeah,
love it.
that definitely happens.
I love it.
Terrible.
No, I mean,
definitely
the
happens.
cool thing about being an event bartender, there's always some kind of crazy story. Not from like that vulgar all the time, but there's so many different experiences we had where, you know, you might meet a celebrity.
Right.
You know, I actually bartended for Marlon Wayans on New
Did
Year's.
see that? That was rad.
That was crazy. Shout out to my guy, William. He was super cool. He hooked it up. But I definitely like enjoy being in his household. He's super hospitable, by the way.
Mm.
We were toasting and whatnot. I was in his house toasting with his family. I'm like, I'm really mom.
That's
Ray's
cool.
house.
Yeah,
Right?
you
Yeah,
my
yeah.
family now.
I grew up watching
Right.
him my
Right.
whole life, so
Right.
like that was definitely an experience. So you get a lot. You got some vulgar experiences, but you have some really amazing
Crazy,
lifetime
yeah.
stories to tell
Right.
of being, an event bartender. So, yeah.
What about
That's dope.
bad? So this is a follow-up question. We're supposed to only have
Ooh,
one, but I feel like,
bad?
I don't know.
Dang.
Those seem like those were fun, cool, crazy.
I would probably say the bad ones. Dang, I don't think I have any real bad experiences.
That's good.
I think I've had surprises where it's like maybe a customer wanted something different last minute. So you're kind of like rushing to be like, okay, like I'm trying to get
Right.
this done for you. How can I make this seamless to make it look like it was effortless?
Right.
Mm.
right.
And
Yeah,
that was
that's
ordeal where it's
important.
like, okay,
Yeah.
you want this garnish? I don't even know where to get that garnish. But we're gonna try our best to go there and get it or
Yeah.
whatever. If I gotta get, rose petal, you gotta buy some roses on the side of the road or something, clean it off real
Right.
quick and like, okay, how do we get this done? I don't,
Right.
And
not,
that
I haven't actually
happens-
done that, but just the surprise of like, what can you do
Yeah.
to make that experience just how they wanted it?
I
to
think
be.
we've mentioned that in a previous episode too, where like sometimes these clients will come out you last minute, like, oh,
Yes.
never mind, I
Right.
want to do this instead, and then you
Yes.
battle with that part of, do I fulfill it and just make it like this perfect event, or do I just no, I can't because that's not what we agreed
Right.
And I
on.
think
Right.
that's
There's a
what
balance.
comes
Do I
into
wing it?
exactly,
Yeah.
and that's a play when it comes to like emotional intelligence because it can be very frustrating because you're always not stressed, but you're trying to make sure everything is perfect for that
Right.
person.
was
So
about
and
to
that's how
say
you gotta like literally take a deep breath and be like,
Okay. fine.
okay,
Yeah. we
like who
do
can I
this.
call for advice, mentorship on this, or what can I Google, what can I chat
Right.
GPT to literally find out what I can do next to make this as seamless as possible for me and the clientele.
Yeah.
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 No,
1000%.
it could be a very stressful situation, right? They make a curveball on you at the last minute and you want everything to go perfect.
Right.
And you want to satisfy this client and you're like, how am I going to do it?
But 99% of the time, it actually does go perfect.
It goes
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
You
Right.
99%
overdo it in
of the
your
time,
head.
you overthink your
Yeah,
head, but
right.
then
Yeah.
it goes like
Right.
completely.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
like,
I
we're
th- I
good.
think there's-
Everything else is fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people just think like, oh, you're just making cocktails, and it's like it's not that.
No,
Right.
It's
we're
not that
just making
simple.
cocktails.
Right.
It's way
Yeah,
more than that.
right.
Yeah.
Like you're producing something the same way that a chef does, right? You're producing a meal. You're producing a cocktail, a flavor profile
Yep.
that is going to be appealing to the masses.
Right.
And I don't necessarily know if bartenders get that respect because it's so common to go to a bar and you just see a bartender and you think that they're all the same. But anybody who's had a great cocktail will know not all bartenders are the same.
Yeah.
But I like that you said that because I literally had a gig, like the 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. one.
Yeah.
And there was a couple people that are like, yo, like they were asking me, look, I'll just ask you to make something simple for me because I know you're working hard and I know you're serving
Right.
great drinks. But I'm like, nah, like what do you tell me what you want? Like,
Right.
I'm more than proud to give you the exact cocktail you need.
Right.
Whatever is on my menu and whatnot. But I appreciate them being like, yo, I just take like a whiskey Coke. Because
Yep.
I see you working hard.
Yep.
I know that you're doing a good job with all these drinks. So I'm like, I appreciate it, but I'm like, no, I'm doing my job, bro. Like I want to like make sure you're good.
Right,
Like, what do you want to
right.
get from the menu? I can make it.
I'm trying to I'm trying
just
to
don't-
wow you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
You're already
that's-
wowed, but I'm trying to make that
yeah.
extra step. But at the same time, it's like I feel like this is my job.
That's
Like,
your
I wanna do it.
hospitality.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So
That's your hospitality.
it's
that's your
definitely
customer
cool
service.
when your clientele really recognizes what you're doing and being like, yo, I see you working.
So
hard.
consumers know this is art. This
Yeah.
ain't McDonald's. It's art.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Say
Yeah,
McDonald's, this is
like-
Five Guys?
No,
No, it's
this-
In and Out.
Yeah.
It's In and Out.
In and out, baby. In and out
That's
all day.
a whole
In-N-Out
nother
Wednesdays.
argument.
Yeah, right.
All right, no, I
In-N-Out
can't
Wednesdays,
start. We're not
Morrissey
starting the
household.
In-N-Out combo already. What
Yeah.
what is
For my
our
East
next?
Coast
I
folks.
love
Right.
it. But no, guys, look, this is all great. Like, I think with leads, we talked about a lot of good things here that to think about with leads, right? And we want to leave with like a few good tips, for people, like real walkaways. Like one, like it's always helpful if you find a niche, right?
Definitely.
There's things you can do. Like CJ talked about how you can cater your conversations. You can speak their same languages, right? Like, quite frankly, Jordan could speak to apartment complexes better than Vivian can. Vivian can speak to the wedding coordinator better than Jordan can, right? And because of that, you're going to make them feel more comfortable and all that stuff. I remember when you were with Happiest Hours, right? We had you go around apartment complexes dropping off Starbucks gift cards and cookies and all sorts of stuff just to try to like be top of mind, right? Just like get creative. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but you got to try things, right? The other thing is like, if you're starting off, use your existing network.
Yep.
Everybody got a birthday.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say it's like an asshole. Everybody got one. You know what I mean?
Actually, yeah, everybody literally has.
Everybody has a birthday.
I was thinking about that. I was like thinking about other parts. I'm
Everyone
like,
has a
oh, no, you're right.
Everybody got a belly button. You know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe that's a little bit more PG rated, but whatever. Y'all know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
You got it.
man.
You got it. If you can't ask your own family members
Right.
to book you,
Right.
Right.
what makes you think you're gonna go to some random person?
Shouldn't be in business.
to like at the end of the day, like even they say like if you're looking for investment, investors like to see that you've raised money from friends and family.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's an indicator of like, oh wow, like you truly believe in this. Because sometimes that's like
Try not to say
No.
something smart ass right now.
right, but like
No,
go to your current family members, and even if you're starting off, even if that means that you gotta, like we always talk about, stand on your value in this thing. But,
Yeah.
but
Right,
there's a caveat to that where it's all like you don't know what you're doing yet, so you should be able to just charge something low and go get your at bats. Your core focus is to get your product right, and the only way you can do that is to get your at bats.
Yeah.
But I also
Right?
think too is a cool thing is just ask your family members who have social media to repost.
Yeah,
Right.
that
Yeah.
goes such a long way.
Literally,
100%.
me and my cousin
If they
back and
can't
forth.
book, if they can't
Yeah.
afford to book you, you know what? Post me
Right.
on
yeah,
your
just
Instagram.
literally
That's free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you could tag them already on it, and they could just repost it, or they might see the reel or the story, whatever. And be like, let me repost that for my family. My cousin Jeremy does it for me all the time. I do the same
Yeah.
thing with him.
I love
And so
Jeremy.
we're always getting business from each other in that aspect as well.
Yeah.
And as well as one more tip is, like I said, for me, with apartment complexes, I try to build a relationship enough to be like, hey, like, why don't you get some of your other manager friends from across different apartment complexes and let's just throw a little party. And you kind of talk
Right.
to them for free. 25 people, 3 hours. So it's like your minimum type of wage or whatever your minimum is.
Right. Right.
Throw them a little party and just having a good time so they can understand, oh, this is dope. And they try your drinks for free. They see the
Right.
vibes already. It's like, okay, I'm going to need him from my apartment complex.
Invest in your business.
Literally.
Invest.
Right.
That's
Invest
an
in your
investment.
business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And look, and also barter your services.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
love
barter your
that.
services and invest in your business. Do events for free using strategy, you know, because especially for this time of the year, that's what it takes to be successful.
But don't do them all.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
do
Don't
a
do
couple.
them all
You know,
for free.
100%.
meet your quote of what can
Yeah.
I do for free
Right.
Yeah.
for this year, or
Put-
maybe
Right.
do one per quarter.
Right. Put a
You know,
cap
spread
on
it out. Yeah.
Put a
Right.
cap on it. But it's also like, okay, this is worth the chance, right? So like what Jordan said, he's willing to do a free event, but to put himself in front of 100 potential clients.
Right.
That's
Right.
worth it.
Yeah.
To me,
That's
Yeah.
worth
that's
it.
worth it, especially if you believe in your product.
Yeah.
All I know, I just got to show up, and I know I'm going to get one of you guys
Yeah.
Exactly.
to pay my full prices for this.
Exactly.
And
you
also-
got to have that
Also,
mindset.
I say like have flyers. Like we created a flyer. Thanks to Ryan, CJ, Alana. I just always shoot them everything I do. Everything I do, I'm like, yo, what does this look like? Give me advice. Let me know. And so doing that, I created the flyer, and I literally was going down to like apartment complexes on like my days off, or when I did have a job, my days off, or just right now, just once a week, I'm going to OC, and I literally walked probably like 10 actual buildings.
Right.
And I'm just
Right.
talking to either the manager or the person at the front desk, and having that person-to-person interaction was very much like, dang, this is dope. We should definitely figure out how to do this. And they seem excited, and sometimes it doesn't always work out, but then you can always follow up by asking them, hey, like, can I grab a business card for my file, and I can hit you guys up later to
Right.
follow up?
right.
And 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, I got you here, or my manager has it, let me get it for you. And then when they talk to you in person, they're just more excited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They like how your energy is. They like what you bring in. They're like, dang, like we haven't done this before, and you worked with already other apartment complexes. Like we got to do this sometime soon.
Yeah.
And so, for anybody who might be interested in doing that, going door to door,
Yeah.
you always touch base with the manager or somebody in charge first before you start plastering the
Yeah,
place.
well, that too. I always ask if like an event coordinator is in, because sometimes they have that title, event coordinator, and they're like, oh, well, actually, we do it as the apartment leasing team.
Right.
We do it. So I'm like, okay,
Right.
cool. I'll talk to you. Or if their manager is in, or if I see they're talking to somebody, but I see a manager's door is kind of open, I might sneak in and knock on that door real quick and be
Right.
like, hey, like, just want to stop in, drop off flyers and whatnot. And what you can do is too, like I said, drop off Starbucks or drop off some donuts if it's early in the morning. Like, those are things that won't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Cool.
And people will
Right.
appreciate
That is
you
cool.
way more for that, at least
Yeah.
an impression.
Closed
Yeah.
mouths don't get fed.
Right. It's
That
about finding the buyer, the decision maker,
Yes.
right? At the end of the day, it takes some time to figure that out. You know, just a quick story. Like I remember I used to get back in the insurance game, and this is when I was in pure sales. I I would drop off books.
Oh, wow.
Like cool books
Oh,
that I
wow.
thought was good. I would just go buy a book and I thought it was a good book. I would go to, and I would try to like find out where their offices were at, like the decision maker, and drop off that book. Who's gonna like throw away a book or like
That's true.
you know what I mean? Or remember, and then put like a little note in there or whatever.
Right.
Like figure, I thought you'd read this. I thought it'd be pretty cool. So it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you got to get creative throughout the
Something
process.
that's personal, that's different.
Right.
Yeah, well, I
100%.
even say too, like invest in just some business cards. I know people don't usually keep business cards these days,
Right.
But it's something like they're gonna put in their pocket. They're gonna wash their clothes and they're gonna see the card and be like,
The
wrinkled card.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot I had this. I might need it for an event. Let me keep this one. It might be beat
Note
up.
to self:
But-
order new business cards.
Canva,
Yeah.
Canva, it's cheap. I got like 150 of them. I leave them out on my bar when I'm bartending. But also, again, like I said, they'll take it home. They might put it in a pocket. Just like when you find $1 or $5 in your pants pocket,
Oh,
you
that's
might
the
find it
best.
big. It's the best.
That's my
right?
favorite part of doing laundry.
Exactly. So when you find that business
That
card,
never
you're like,
happens for me.
let me just keep this to the
Somebody else
side
does
real
your
quick.
laundry and
Right.
they take the money.
I
That's
wish
why.
somebody
Right.
else did
Right.
my laundry.
and you know what? Last tip, guys. I forgot. This is a really good one. Our business is fairly localized, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, people are going to want people that are in their city, county, whatever. Join the local chamber of commerce.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
Huge.
Right?
That is
Like
huge.
join your local. You're a business.
Right.
You are a business. Take yourself seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yes, you have businesses that are making over $1 million a year and $10 million a year, whatever it
Right,
is.
right.
But you are still a business. Show up professionally
Yeah.
and show up to your local chamber of commerce to like, just network with people.
It's literally
Because-
just about networking.
It's networking. And not only do businesses have Christmas parties and all these things,
Right.
but you know what they are? They're also people.
Right.
With
Right.
what?
Right.
Birthdays.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
that one thing that you have every year.
right.
And
Like belly buttons.
They are obligated to help you find
assholes.
business. So take full advantage for sure.
Right.
For sure.
But I also think like I only do some. Well, when I first started, the first few months, I was only doing like weekdays.
Right.
So it's like people, they have corporate events out
Right,
there.
right.
And even some of the apartment complexes, they want to do during the week type of stuff because people are out during the weekend.
Yep.
So like I was out, my Saturday, Sundays were almost damn near free.
Wow.
And I was doing a lot of weekday events
Weekdays.
that were like literally crowding me
Weekday
up.
availability.
Yeah, the weekday availability is definitely key, but
Yeah.
it was cool to have that open up to be like, cool. So then I can, when I'm going forward and trying to get more leads, I have the weekdays and the weekends.
yeah.
Right.
But I love doing the weekday events because I was like, if I don't have any gigs that on the weekend,
Oh, dude, those are the money shots.
I'm like, I'm free, and then to
Right.
do that, I could go do more. Or like, say if I have an event to go to, I'm like, cool, I can go to this birthday party because I did my work
Yeah,
during the
full
weekday.
day.
You mean you can have,
Right.
you, mean
Right.
you can have a life?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
A life. What is that?
Right.
Yeah. No.
Entrepreneurship, right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
guys.
do we have more top tips, or
No,
are we
guys,
ready
I
for
think-
CJ
Yeah,
with
that
the
was
facts?
Yeah.
I think it's time for CJ with the facts.
We need to come up with like a little song,
I
for
know.
CJ with the facts.
I know. We do
CJ
need a
with
little
the
song.
CJ with the
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah. A little Superman.
CJ with the facts.
Okay, well yours is way cooler.
That was real 80s right there.
Go on.
No. I think for today's CJ with the facts, I just want to talk about the industry, the alcohol industry as a whole. Obviously it's January, February, and March, which are the slowest periods of the year for bartending companies.
Yep.
And so this is, obviously we've been through this year after year, and especially as you get closer to March, right? Everyone has this feeling of like, oh my God, I need business, right?
Yes.
Like
Can't help but panic.
that's
It comes every year, but every year you panic.
It is so natural.
You just prepare a little better every year.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's so natural to think like, oh, maybe this is a dying industry. But I just want to throw out a few reminders for especially this time of the year and especially during this time in that, right, we are still normalizing from the pandemic.
Ugh,
Yeah. Way back when we had the Spanish influenza, the Spanish bird flu, right? Restaurants and bars immediately saw an uptick once we got past that, right? And it was no different for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So what we saw these last couple of years have not been normal. Between 2010 to 2018, the alcohol industry saw an average increase of 4.5%, right? But of course, during 2021 and 2022, you were talking about an annual increase of 10 to 11% in
Wow.
alcohol,
Right.
right?
Jeez.
Right. It's a crazy surge.
And so these last couple of years, we've seen a 1% decrease. And a lot of people are sitting there thinking, oh, well, the alcohol industry is going under because there are less people drinking, right? Marijuana is now legalized in several states. Obviously, the cost of eggs and gas and supplies are increasing,
Can't find
right?
egg whites for nothing for my espresso martini.
Right. So like, it's one thing for right, like yeah, the world is happening. Don't get me wrong, but the alcohol industry is not dying. We are just normalizing. Okay, so
That's a good call.
we just went from a high end to what is that normal. So to all my bartending company friends, do not lose hope. Right? I know these are the struggle months, but these busy months are right around the corner.
Right.
Right? So that's why we talk about leads at this point in time, is because and how you handle them. Because at this point in time, every lead matters.
Yeah.
Right? But not only does every lead matter, it's also working in a way knowing that the busy time is right around the corner.
Literally.
You know, and so what can you do as an entrepreneur? Because you are an entrepreneur, whether it's a small business, venture capitalist, whatever you can do to work smarter and not harder, attacking, key clients that will book you on a regular basis, do that. Right? Just and that's it. That's it.
I think it's also saving too.
Right.
As soon as like
Right.
that October month hit, let me buy these gifts right now.
Right.
So I can save the rest of that money.
Right, right.
That's what I had to
Right.
learn for my slow season was like I saved a decent amount, but I think I could have saved a little bit more if I had paid attention. Well, I was sick on Christmas. I had the neurovirus, but besides that, I felt like I was able to give my gifts out, but
Right.
I paid for it at a decent time where things were still kind of cheap, money was
Just
still kind of flowing
Plan
in.
ahead and
Yeah.
know
Plan
that
ahead
the
of
beginning of the year is your off
Yeah,
season.
for sure.
Yeah,
Do
you
it.
can't expect what you made in December is what you're going to make in
In
January.
January.
You just can't live by that. So you
That
have
is a
to,
given.
Yeah, right. It's a given every single year. So for a lot of industries, so it's you got to kind of like prepare for that. But guys, this was fantastic.
Yeah.
This
Great
was
one.
fantastic,
What's the
man.
podcast, Jordan?
Hey, yeah,
man.
appreciate it.
Hey, so
I've been wanting to do a podcast forever. So
You
it's
fit
kinda
right
cool.
in, Jordan. You fit right
guys.
in, but don't get comfy, okay?
Well down.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Ryan, share.
No, guys, guys, this has been great. That's a wrap for this episode. It was fantastic. Huge shout out to Jordan over here for joining
Yay,
us.
Jordan.
This is great, guys. Please, if you enjoyed this is a podcast about leads today, this episode. I think we learned a lot today. This is like part one. I feel like we're going to go deeper into it, talk more tactical on like the different types of platforms and who's winning where. That's going to be fun and good too. But guys, subscribe, like, tune in. If you're a mobile bartender, we're hoping that we're providing value. If we're not, tell us in the comments. Just let us know, and we
ask
promise.
questions.
Yes.
Ask questions.
Yes.
Jump in. We just appreciate y'all tuning in. Please subscribe, and we will catch y'all on the next one.
Woo.
All right.
Cheers, friends.
Let's go.